right, folks. I think we're live, maybe? Let's see. Are we live? Yes. We are live. Well. This has been awesome. We're going to be doing a cool project tonight, and we're going to be starting part 1. We're going to have a lot of different elements to this, so welcome to Techopolis. My name is Tay, and we're going to be starting some Python code tonight. If y'all wonder what we're doing, we're going to be making a text-to-speech or TTS application, and we're going to be using a module called Pyttsx3. I will go ahead and put a link in the chat for y'all to see. We already have a GitHub repo for tonight, and since I've already shown you guys how to do this in the last stream, you guys should know how to do this by now. If you don't, go ahead and check that one out, but we'll have a GitHub repo, and we'll be committing to it as each night continues until we're done with this project. All right, sound good? Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to be doing in this project. So we're going to be making a TTS or text-to-speech application, and simply put, it's a way so that you can have text either be read to you in terms of using a synthesized voice on the computer. It will read it out aloud, and that's what text-to-speech is. It's usually used, for example, for screen readers, for people who are blind, but you can also use it for reading, for example, different books. It's almost like Audible. But Audible is human narration, whereas this is text-to-speech. So it's using computer-generated synthesized voices. And the point of this is that we're going to learn how to interact with that with Python today. So our application is going to consist of a few main parts. Our first part is we're going to have a menu, which basically allows the user to select what they want to do. And then we're going to have functions for each operation in the menu. And I'll explain all of this in just a minute. So don't be overwhelmed. So that is what we're going to be doing for tonight, and we're going to be doing the first part of this, and then eventually we're going to be making a settings screen where the settings will get saved to the file, where they can choose volume, rate, pitch, so on, etc., etc. So that's going to be in the future works. But if anyone watching, go ahead and say hi in my chat. I want to know who's watching. And if you're watching later on, go ahead and say hi in the comments. I'm always looking forward to seeing who is interacting, and we're super excited that you're here. So, all right, let's go ahead and get this show on the road, shall we? I don't have any chat messages, so... Oh, I do have chat messages. Hey, Kevin, how are you today? I'm super excited that you're here. I always love that you come to these streams. Kevin's been a pretty devoted fan, so... Hey, Kevin, nice, awesome. Super excited you're here tonight. All right, folks. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, we're sharing the screen. So, what I've already done is I've already created my editor window, so I already have my VS Code open, and if you're not sure how to do that, I've got plenty of streams already, but I didn't want to have to go through the hassle of creating a new file, new project, since we've already done this before. I called this Python text-to-speech project, and basically, we've created our file. It's called pytts.py, and basically this will allow us to run our file. So that's what we're going to have tonight. Is we're going to have this file that we created, and I just got a little bit of sample code, but I'm going to go ahead and delete all this. This is stuff I was messing around with before the stream. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this GitHub Copilot for the time being, because I do not need the GitHub Copilot. GitHub Copilot is my favorite AI-paired programming assistant, and it's in technical preview right now, but oh my gosh, it's great. So we'll be talking about that more later on. So again, our objectives for tonight is we're going to learn about functions, and we're also going to create a main menu function as well as some basic functions for speaking out text. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a function called menu. So let's define what a function is, just so that we're on the same page. A function is basically a block of statements that can help you repeat code over and over again. For example, let's say that I have, I don't know, maybe something that says Taylor's awesome, Taylor's awesome. Well, instead of having to write that like 15 million times, I can make a function that says function, or I almost said function, you use def in Python. Def T is awesome, or def T left parentheses, right parentheses, because it can usually take some arguments. And then you could say print T is awesome. And then you could run the T is awesome function as many times as you want, and it will repeat that block code over and over and over again. Now, functions get a little bit more complicated than that, but that is what it is at the basic level. So it allows you to repeat statements many times. That way you don't have to try to check, multiple times if something is true. You can use a function, and it helps contain your code. It's one of the methods, or one of the ways that you can use to help write cleaner code. Now, methods is a whole nother term, and that's usually used in the context of classes. Sometimes people call functions methods, but functions are different in this case than methods. So that is what a function is at a very basic level. So I know that's really not making any sense, so let's go ahead and just dive right in, all right? So I'm at my top of my file. I'm going to go ahead and write a comment here. Control or command question mark. Defined. Actually, you know what? Here. Yeah. Define menu function for main application logic. It's always a good idea to comment your code. That way you know what you're going to be doing. So it's always a great idea to comment your code. And comments help it to be more readable for other people involved. So commenting, you definitely want to do that very frequently. That way you can tell people what your intention is, and it can also help remind you as well, maybe 6 months down the line. Okay, so let's go ahead and define our function. So def, D-E-F, menu. Oops. I'm just going to call this menu because that's what this function is. Left parenthesis, right parentheses, and then you put a colon. Anything under this colon is going to be indented because it's a code block. Just like with an if-else, elif statement, anything under here is indented. Or in some of the languages, it's using braces. I'm going to go ahead and type in menu equals, actually, you know what? Backspace that. We need to add a loop. So a loop basically helps to repeat code over and over again. So for example, a loop will help it to say, anytime that this condition happens, keep repeating it. And for example, anytime that the user is done with an option, have it go back to the main menu. So the loop is kind of going to be our main application window. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say while true, ensuring that our true is capitalized because it is a object like we talked about earlier. Whoops. I included a whole bunch of code I did not ask for. True. Okay. While true, colon. This also includes a colon, and underneath that while true, we're going to have everything indented as well. So now we're going to type in our statement. So we're going to say menu, of course, making sure that we're indented further. So menu equals input, left parenthesis, welcome to the application. We're going to say press 1 to type text to be spoken. 2 to save, read text from a file and have it saved, or 3 to exit this program. So I just made a very good menu options, and the menu, you want it to be clear. You want the menu to tell the user what they have to do to interact with your program. That is very vital. So you need to make sure that your menu says to the user, hey, do this, press this key to enter this, right? Because you don't have a graphical user interface or GUI for users to click on buttons. You have to be more descriptive because it's running in a terminal. Okay, so you have to be descriptive. Okay, so I have my menu. Now our next item of business is doing our if logic. So basically we're going to be checking to see when menus are pressed, or I'm sorry, options are pressed, do certain actions. So first we're going to say if menu dot, and we're going to actually do some exception handling, which basically means error correction. We're going to make sure that our menu input is a digit, so we're going to say dot is digit. And we're going to say, so we're going to do is digit, because we want to make sure that this menu item is digit, right? We don't want it to throw an error if it is something else. So we want to check for error handling. So we're going to say if menu dot is digit, left paren, right paren, I believe. I'm going to have to check the syntax. Equals 1 colon. I'm going to say pass. Simply put, pass basically passes that function until something is there. It's like a stub. Because we haven't defined a function yet, I don't want to put anything here. So I'm just going to simply put a pass statement, which will skip over this line and make sure that we can go ahead and have other conditions. And when we want to, we can run it without having any problems. So pass. Okay, I'm going to go to the next line. And I'm going to say elif menu dot is digit equals 2, and I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to have the pass statement. Menu dot thank you, GitHub Copilot. You filled in my thoughts there. So we just said, hey, elif menu item equals 2, or menu equals 2, pass. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and check to see for our third menu item, which is 3. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to do something different. We're going to go ahead and use the break statement. Simply put, the break statement allows you to break out of a loop. And it allows you to break the loop. You can also do this in other ways, but we're just going to simply use the break statement in this case. So elif, and elif basically is a short form for else if in Python. Elif menu dot is digit equals 3, break. But before the break statement, we're going to go ahead and put a little print statement here. And we're going to say print, I hope you liked this program, and please come back soon. All right, so we've coded our main menu function. Now, it's not going to run, or it's not going to do anything when we run it. Why? Because we haven't called the function. So every function must be called. So we're going to go ahead and call the menu function by saying menu left paren, right paren. So, menu. All right, let's go ahead and see if I have any errors and run my code. I've got an error. Oh, okay. Oops. I went a little bit parentheses heavy, folks. So menu, left paren, right paren. I can also press Command-Shift-M or Control-Shift-M to see the problems in my file, so I don't have to go to the terminal. We've talked about this a little bit before, so let's go ahead and do that now. True is not defined. Okay. A little bit heavy with my T's there, so while true, I fixed that one. Let's go ahead and see where we're at now. True needs to be capitalized. Okay, so no problems have been detected. Let's go ahead and try to run the program now and see if we can't fix our errors. Okay. Syntax error. Did I save my file? Let me see. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to type 3. Oops. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, just a second. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure okay. So, what we did is we went ahead and let's see if I can't get this to work. So, oh, is there? Oh, okay, let me see if I can fix that. Hold on. Just a second. Let me go ahead and see if I can't get that to work. cts.py. Good call, Kevin. I'm glad you said something. Okay. Good call. Sorry about that. I don't know why I had the file open up twice. Alright, let's see if I can't get this to work now. Oh, you know what? Python 3 TTS. Alright. 3. Okay. Now, you notice that it hasn't went ahead and broke. So sometimes you're going to have problems. Let's go ahead and fix this up together. I've done this before, obviously, and I was successful earlier today. So sometimes this will happen where it's like you can't break out of the loop. So let's go ahead and fix that. But you know something I forgot to do? I forgot to add an else statement. And an else is simply a catch-all, so that if none of these other conditions work, it will go to the else. And I simply forgot to do that. So let me go ahead and come up with an else statement, and that's really going to be helpful. But what I'm also going to do is fix my stuff here. I'm going to go fix my Python code that I messed up. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do, let's see. I'm just going to make sure. Okay, 4, and let's see. Okay. Perfect. So, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to say else, colon, print that work. Please try again. That did not work. All right, let's try this again now. 3. Okay. But you know what I failed to do, though? I wanted to actually make that a 0. That way it's not a 3. So let me go ahead and fix that real fast. This is what happens when I do this live. I might forget. So, all right. So, I'm going to say 0. Okay, so now what I can do is I can go ahead and run this. 0. Okay. Alright, so it did not run my 0. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run this menu. Now, what I think is going to happen here is I'm going to comment some stuff out. So I have my menu. I have my menu function. Now, the problem is sometimes you can get stuck in these loops, and that's where I think I am stuck. So here's what we're going to do. We're not going to get looped around like we did last night. What we're going to actually do eventually, and actually we're going to probably do this now, is we're going to have a condition. So you can do while true, or you can do something like this. So I showed you the break statement. And you could also do, for example, exit equals false. So basically when exit equals true, then we're going to go ahead and exit the loop. So you have a couple different options. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say instead of while true, exit. And I'm going to say while exit, left. Oops. Oh, you know what? I messed that up. True. Whoops. That way I'm clearly defining what I'm trying to do here. There we go. So I can either do a break or I can make a condition. And I like the condition a little bit better, but I just want to kind of show you guys what you could do. So, all right, so now if I'm going to say, exit equals false. And it should run, hopefully, like I want it to. Okay? Or not. Okay. Now, there's a little bit of a problem there. Because if I press enter too many times, it will exit the program by pressing enter twice. Now, that's not a good idea, but, you know, this is why we're going to have debugging, right? This is kind of a hack together solution. So when we do more refinements later on, we're going to go ahead and fix that up. But I think right now, what I want to do is I want to kind of leave that in the back of my mind, and I want to think about how I want to do that. So all I'm kind of showing you guys is the problem solving process. I don't like how I have this right now because it will make it so that it will say exit equals false. But if I have break, let me see if my break will work like that. You know what, actually? You can also do the exit left paren right paren function. Let's see if that works better. See, that will go back out of it too. So you have different options. Now if I did break, that will also probably do it as well. But you see how I'm doing live coding, right? I'm thinking about what I want to do, break, and I'm implementing it. See, that of course, I pressed enter twice and it went out of the program. So that's the thing. I like what I'm doing right now because I like doing that. And I'm going to go ahead and switch this back. True. And so let's see if I can't break my code. Okay. So I broke my own code, didn't I? I did. So I don't like that. So I don't like that I was able to just press enter whenever the heck I wanted. So we're going to go ahead and refactor that. But I think we're going to leave that alone for now. At least it works for the time being. I want to get to some other important stuff. Again, this is very important that we do this. But again, this is why we're going to be kind of developing. And maybe I'm going to think of a better idea to do this later on. Who knows? So we're going to go ahead. Now we've got a better menu structure. And we're going to go ahead and define our first function. Our first function is going to be to read text from the user input. So it's going to be read text and speak it out. So we're going to call this, let's see, speak user input. So def, and I like to do camel case, so speak user input, left paren, right paren, colon. User input equals input. No, hold on. Hey, you GitHub Copilot, I love you, but you keep trying to fill in way too much stuff. So we're going to say user input equals input. Please type text to be spoken. Simply put, this is going to speak the text that is put in the user console. So we're going to have a new function here. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and define our text-to-speech engine. So this is going to be the cool part. So first we have to define our text-to-speech. And in order to do that, we have to import our text-to-speech module. In order to do that, we have to make sure that we install it. So if you're on Mac, pip3 install Pyttsx3. If you're on Windows, you could probably just do pip install Pyttsx3. That will work as well. And if you're on another operating system, who knows, Linux, you should be able to follow these instructions. But you want to install it first, and then you want to import it. So we're going to go ahead to the top of the file, and we're going to say import Pyttsx3. That will allow us to use this in our application. So we just imported Pyttsx3, and I'm going to go back to my function below here. Def speak user input. Now I'm going to say user. Actually, I'm going to say, let's see, what am I going to call this? TTS equals, and I'm going to say, Pyttsx3.init. Init in Python simply initializes something. So we're saying, hey Python, hey Pyttsx3, go ahead and initialize, get ready to speak, right? So we're initializing what's happening here, right? We're initializing what's going on. So that's kind of what we're doing now. We're initializing this. Okay, now we're going to say TTS dot hold on. TTS dot say, so the say method or the say property is what will actually say what's been spoken. So we're going to say left paren user input. So instead of saying a text, instead of saying a string, which is in quotes, we're going to say the variable value of user input. Now, the last thing we need to do in order for this to run is we need to do tts.run and wait. So tts.run and wait. Now, we need to go ahead and put this function in our number 1 spot. So let me go ahead and save my file, and we're going to put this where it says if, number 1 instead of past, we're going to go ahead and run the user input, and we're going to see if this actually works right. So, okay. Now, let's see. Pass. Oops, I just got deleted too much stuff. I'm going to say spoken speak user input. Whatever the heck I call this function. I'm going to go ahead and save it and see if it works. Uh-oh. Speak user input's not defined. Alright. Well, you know what? Probably means that we need to move this to the top of the file. I was afraid of that because in Python, it runs top to bottom, right? So sometimes it runs top to bottom. So if it can't find the function before it's called, it's going to probably throw a fit. So let's go ahead and move that up. Let me see if that makes a difference. Boom. Please enter text to be spoken. Hi, world. Folks, we went ahead and we ran that. Alright, so what did we do? We went ahead and had it say, hi, world. Now, for y'all's sake, let me go ahead and run the program as it is. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the sound. And that way you guys can hear how it works, okay? So let me go ahead and turn on the sound. That way you guys can hear how this works, how it speaks. I'm using my Mac, so it's going to use the native Alex voice, which is the system default. But that way you guys can hear how it's going to go. I'm not going to turn on voiceover in terms of this. Like, I'm not going to make it so that voiceover is slower. I just want you guys to hear this speech, okay? So, while I'm going ahead and switching modes, go ahead, folks. Give me your thoughts. What do y'all think about this? Do you like it? What do you think? Do you think there's something we could improve better? What are y'all's thoughts about this project so far? I'm clearly enjoying myself, so tell me what y'all think. Tell me if there's features you want to add to this. Go ahead, chat. This is your time to shine while I go ahead and get my ducks in a row. Okay? So, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing for just a second. But go ahead, chat. Go ahead and say what you think. Say if there's things that you would like to see differently or that kind of thing. And let's go ahead and try to make this a collaborative experience after all. And that's why I hope you guys are watching this channel, is to learn more about Python and that kind of thing and to see me live code. Alright.
Started screen.
Alright, so start screen. You know what, did I share my sound? I might be kind of stupid at the moment. Folks, I've only got 4 hours of sleep last night, so I'm a little bit off.
System dialog. Content is empty. You are screen sharing. Zoom.us has new system dialog.
Alright. Let's go ahead and run the program so you guys can hear it. Alright, let's see.
Terminal. Caret D.
I gotta go ahead and stop this.
TY. Python 3. Welcome to the application. Press 1 to type text to be spoken, 2 to read text from a file, and how to save, or 3 to exit this program.
I'm gonna type in 1.
What about a microservice on the web?
A microservice on the web, huh? Well, possibly, Kevin. I'll go ahead and look at that. That could be interesting. Maybe go ahead and maybe say what you want about that. Maybe do you have any specific ideas or examples? That was a chat message. And let me go ahead and run it. I'm going to press 1.
1. Please enter text to be spoken.
I'm just going to type in, just because Kevin had that idea. What?
HT. Spoken. What?
An interesting idea. I'm going to press enter and watch what happens.
What an interesting idea.
Watch that. So just spoke. What an interesting idea.
To read text from a file and have it saved, or 3 to exit this program.
Now it went back to our main menu. You see? So it's a loop. It always goes back to our main menu. We ran the function that went ahead and spoke the text. Now we're going back to our main menu. All right? So now we're going back to our main menu because that's what the function is going to run. So the focus here, folks, is that we need to make sure that when we run the main menu, that it goes to the function that we want it to go. Because the main menu is going to be what makes this program work. Okay, so let me go ahead and now try my 0 here.
Siri button, hyphen 0. Please enter text to be spoken.
Oh, what? Hold up. Let me get out of this. Shoot.
H-I-K-O.
Whoops.
Home file and have it saved, or 3 to exit this program. 1. Please enter text to be spoken. Hi world, welcome to the application. Press 1 to type text to be spoken, 2 to read text from a file and have it saved, or 3 to exit this program. A, DC trace back, most recent call last, file, /users, /cy, /documents, /python text to speech project, /gts.py, line 22, in module menu, file, /users, /cy, /documents, /python text to speech project, /gts.py, line 10, in menu equals input. Welcome to the application. Press 1 to type text to be spoken. I hope you like this program and please come back soon. TAY@taylor-pro, Python text.
So we still need to work on our exiting logic a little bit. We're going to go ahead and come back to that in just a little bit. I want to get our main functionality first worked on, because again, it's always about refining the software. So what we're going to do now is we're going to check to see if the user input is empty. Because if it's empty, we don't want to speak anything. We're going to go ahead and throw an error. So this is called exception handling. Simply put, exception handling is the process of handling user errors. So we're going to go ahead and check to see if the field is empty. And if it is, we're going to throw an error. And this way, the Python program won't crash. Instead, our error message will be there to catch the error and say, hey, look, user, you didn't type anything. Let's go ahead and see what happens now if I don't do that. And if I don't type anything, what's going to happen is probably going to crash, right?
Python 3. Welcome to the application. Press 1 to type text to be spoken. Please enter text to be spoken. Please enter text to be spoken. New line. New line. Caret A.
Interesting.
A. Left. Menu. File. Slash users. Slash TAY.
It doesn't do anything.
New line.
Okay.
New line. Caret. TAY. Potato dash R dash macro dash row.
Kind of get thrown into a loop. So let me go ahead and see what we can do about this. So I've never really done this part before. I mean, I've done this before, but I got to figure out what method to use. So this is where our Copilot could be pretty handy. So let me go ahead and stop sharing the sound, and let's get back.
Currently muted.
Whoops.
Currently unmuted.
All right. Here we go. All right. So let's see. So first we're going to put a try. And a try statement simply is the text that we're going to try to make sure that it won't fail. So we're going to put try, colon, whoops, colon, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say accept. And this is what's nice about this Copilot is I could type in things, for example, accept if user input is empty. Empty. Because if I'm not sure the exact method to use, I could just press Control Enter and it could give me some solutions or some samples. Okay, so okay. So, I'm just looking at these options here. Okay, and I'm looking at these options again because maybe I'm like, okay. Okay, so actually what we're not going to do here is we're not going to use a try and accept. We technically could, but looking at the options, I actually think a blank if statement is empty. So a blank if statement is all we need. So an if statement that is blank, basically what that's going to do is it's just going to say if user input equals empty string. And that will just say, hey, or you could do if len, length of user input, so the len is a built-in property, equals 0. And I actually like that a little bit better. I like that a little bit better because we're checking to make sure that that's 0. And we're going to say equals 0, colon, and then we're going to have an error else, and then we're going to create the TTS. So let's go ahead and check for that basic error and see if we can't get that to work. Okay, so I went ahead and did this wrong here. Let me get rid of this. Okay. So the length function is len, so we're going to say if len left paren user input oops. Hold on. Okay, GitHub Copilot, you are going crazy. I love you, but user input. All right. Hold on. Just a second, folks. This is what happens when you have IntelliSense going wild. User input. equals 0, colon. Print, left paren, user input must not be empty, period. Else, colon. I gotta indent. I gotta get rid of this. I gotta indent this a little bit more. Let's see. Okay. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. Okay. Let's go ahead and run our program now and see what kind of madness we've created for ourselves. Simply put, I just wanted to check to make sure that the stuff was not empty. Because if it was, we'd have a problem. Alright? And again, this is why these things like GitHub Copilot is so helpful. Let me go ahead and close this other editor. And I could have just hit accept solution. The reason I didn't want to do that is because I wanted to type it out. I'm showing how this tool can be a great learning resource for us. Right? Yeah, I could go out and search Stack Overflow how to do this. But I want to show you guys how it's nice, right? It's a great tool. Now, you have to be signed up for it in Technical Preview, but I recommend getting on their waiting list if you're not already. We'll go ahead and save this. Uh-oh. Hold on. Hey, I don't think I asked to do that. Okay, GitHub Copilot. There we go. Okay, let me go ahead and save this now. Uh-oh, I got an error. Okay. The unexpected unindent, huh? Let me go ahead and save this again. Unexpected unindent. Okay, so why is this complaining? Why are we complaining? Okay, sorry guys. It's like my cursor keeps moving on me. Okay. So sometimes this indentation can kick me in the absolute butt. Let me go ahead and save this. See what we get. Okay. Okay. So unexpected unindent, huh? Def menu. Alright, let's figure this out. So Pyttsx. Okay, I got a spam comment there, but let's move on here. Okay. So, unexpected unindent. Okay. Unexpected unindent. So that means I have to indent something. But I don't want this to be part of the other function. So, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this comment for now. I'm going to go ahead and save this and see what happens. Okay, so unexpected unindent. Okay. Okay, so what I could do Oh, do I? Duh. Thanks, Kevin. Again, folks, only 3 hours of sleep. Or 4 hours of sleep last night. This is what happens. Thanks, Kevin. Okay. Y'all are awesome because, I clearly can't think today. 1. Look at that. User input must not be empty. We went ahead and caught that little bug there. So we said if user input must not be empty, that's great. So now we went ahead and say, hey, you need to enter some text. Now, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead. Again, we want to add more loops and stuff. We want to add more sophistication. But what I really want to do is I want to get a minimal viable product, or MVP, out. And so our next function is we're going to talk about files. And then we're going to eventually kind of refine things and get things a little bit more, catching on and making sure that we can catch all the bugs. But for now, what I want to do is I want to check and I want to add files. Now, here's where things get a little bit interesting, folks. We're going to go ahead and read from files today. So here's how this is going to work. We're going to be using Python file modules, Python file management, and we're going to be reading from text files, opening them, closing them, reading them, that kind of thing. So let me go ahead and I'm going to create a new function, and we're going to call it speak from file, okay? So this one is not only going to speak the text, but it's also going to save it to a new file. Okay, so here's what we're going to do here. I'm going to go down below here. And, oops. I'm going to add some space. Okay. Let me get rid of the space. Get rid of the space. All right. So, def. I'm going to say speak, from file. If I can type. Left paren, right paren. And I'm going to say speak from file. Now we're going to say file. So first we need to open up a file. And there's a couple different ways we can do this. We're going to use the context manager, basically where we can say a with statement. So with open file name.txt, so on and so forth. So the first thing we have to do though is we need to do some error handling. So this is where things get a little bit fun. So folks, go ahead and follow along. This is where things are going to get a little bit interesting, because we don't want to open up a file that doesn't exist. And for now, we're going to have the file in the same directory that the program is running in. Of course, we're going to go expand this later on, but for the time being, that's how we're going to handle this. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and say with open, so with open file. So this is going to be a file name. And I'm going to call this file name. And then you have to do a method. So read, write, read, write, read, write, and then there's append and R plus, W plus. So basically read, write, append. So append will add to another file. The simplest thing we're going to do is we're going to read a file, because we don't need to write to a file. So we don't want to use the W. We don't want to use the A plus, because we don't want to append or, read and write. That basically append gives us the most here, because it reads, writes, and appends, right? We don't want to append. We don't want to write to the file. We just want to read. So we're going to put R, and you could also put R plus, which will read and write from the file. But what we're going to do is we're going to say R, right? So we're going to say R. So it'll just simply read the file. So we're going to do a comma. Whoops. And we have to obviously put an extension. So let's see. I think this is going to be a plus. Let's see. actually. Let's see, I think that's going to be... Okay. R... Right, parentheses. Okay, so we have to say, and then file name plus, I think it's, let's see, I think it's file name. Okay, I think it is plus txt, comma. I think that's how that works. Okay, we're going to find out when we try to run the program. But before we even do that, we have to get the file name, right? We need to say, hey, user, enter a file name. So we're going to say file name equals input please type the file name that would, actually, let me rephrase this and say, file you would like spoken. Okay. Alright, so I've got an error here. It's making a squiggly line. The reason I know that is because I hear a different sound with my screen reader and VS Code. So let me go ahead and see what this error is about. Expected. Do I have a colon? I need a colon at the end of this. I don't. There we go, folks. You have to have a colon. Now, underneath this, there is going to be a little bit of a indentation going on. So now, what I'm going to actually do, just for debugging purposes, I'm just going to say, print, I've got the file. Obviously, I'm not going to keep that for long. But that's just going to be a simple statement. Say, hey, I have the file. This works for now. Print, I have the file. Oops. The file loaded. Okay, so I just said print, I have the file name loaded. Now let me go ahead for now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this function. I just want to make sure my code works. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the to spot here. Speak from file. Speak from, okay, let me go ahead and save this now. 2. Oh, really? Okay. Interesting. Okay, so that did not do what I wanted it to do. So you know what we call that? A semantic error. Basically meaning it doesn't do exactly what you had intended it to do. So, let's figure out once and for all. Why it's not going past this little line here. So, what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to change this. Let's see. I'm going to check this up real quick. If menu, let me see if I change this to an if. It makes sense. No. Okay. So now it's not going past this little. So let me go ahead and comment this out. Commenting out lines helps to debug because you can have less to work with. So let me go ahead and see if that's the problem. 2. Okay. That didn't work. Please try again. Okay. So, 2. Okay, so something must be wrong here. Okay, so Let's see. It's not running it. Okay, let's see. So we have, I'm going to go ahead and grab this real quick. Loaded. So all we're doing right now is we're checking. Hey, what's wrong here? Okay, so we're doing what's called debugging. So we're trying to figure out why something broke and how to fix it. So, let's see. Speak user input. Okay. Speak from file. Def menu. While true. Okay. Alright. If menu equals. Okay. So something is not working right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and honestly, this is probably why I probably should have, if I was smart, I would have coded the menu function later on. So you know what I'm going to actually do for the time being is I'm going to go ahead and just kill most of this menu function, actually. And what I'm going to do, in a sense, is I'm just going to run these different portions. Because eventually what I want to do is I want to modularize this program. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves. So here's what we're going to do. And this is why I probably would recommend coding the menu a little bit later on. What I'd recommend doing probably is what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to make sure each function works internally by itself. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to comment out different parts of these functions. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. Now, like I said, I probably should have coded the menu last. And that's something to learn, right? You always learn more stuff. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a trick. I'm going to comment out, actually, I'm going to comment this menu out. Command question mark control question mark's your friend. Now I'm going to go up to this first function. And I'm going to say speak from file. Make sure this other function works first. Speak. Speak from file, left paren, right paren. We'll run it. Let's go ahead and run this now and just have our other function we just made. Uh-oh, trace back. Speak from file is not defined. What did I just say about that? Oh yeah, I have to have the function defined first. Alright, let's go ahead and put that here now after the speak from files ran. Please type a file you'd like spoken. I'm going to call this test.txt. Oh, you know what? Okay, so let me try this again. So, test. Okay. So, alright, so let's say I don't know how to read from a text file. Again, this is where our little command is going to be helpful. What I can do is I can actually okay. So read user input as text file. So let's say I don't know how to do that. Let's see what it suggests I do. With open file name rsf. No, I don't want that. with open, but I need the extension. Nope. Okay. So let me go ahead and, try this again. So let me go ahead and say, okay. Read user input file. And again, all I have to do is comment and it will give me suggestions, which is nice. And I like to do this again. I can always go look online, right? But this is kind of a nice way to see documentation. And I can see, oh, maybe this is how I should do this better. Okay, so read user file. Okay, let's see what I have now. With open file. Okay, well, I already know I can use a file not found error. Well, that's helpful. I like the try and accept there. But, okay. So let me go ahead and say, txt. So with extension txt, okay, so I think that. Okay, so and I'm looking at all these different little solutions here. And this is kind of a great way to see what's going on here. Oh, plus.txt. So how did they do that? Because I want to be able to implement that. So I'm looking at this code. So let's see. Okay. Plus quotation mark .txt comma. Okay, so let's go ahead and implement that for ourselves. But see, now I've been able to figure that out because I clearly messed this up. So we're going to say, let's see. So we're going to say with open. We're going to say file name. Whoops. I cannot type today for folks. So we're going to say with open, left parentheses, file name, plus quotation mark .txt, end quotes, comma, r quotation mark, as file. So as file, again, makes it shorter so that you can type file.read, for example. And file.read will simply read the entire contents of the file. So that's actually what we're going to do. But we need to make sure that this file is actually found. So we need to go check for the errors. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to say try. file. Let's see. Oops. Except file not except file not found error colon print left paren file is not found, period. Okay, so we went ahead and checked this out, and you could also do this in a different other way too. You could also do this in a different way where you could have it as if statements to check to see if there's nothing in the file or if it's not found. So you can have many different ways as well of checking this. So we're going to do the exception handling. Okay. Try. Except. Not found. Print. Please try again. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our code. Okay, so it needs to be on the same level as a try. Let's see. Okay, so what we're going to actually do, I'm having trouble with this. So, this is where we want to look at, implementation, right? We want to look at the, okay, because maybe this is something I've never done before, so add, try, block. Right, maybe we want to look at an example. And maybe I'm just confused on indentation, so we can go ahead and look at the try blocks. Okay. So they're doing a lot of len. Okay, so except. Okay, so everything under the try block. So the try block has to have all of the stuff, and then it will accept. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say try. Okay. Try. Colon. All right. And okay, and then we're going to say, let's see. We're going to say accept file. Oops, not found. So you can either just do an accept, or you can do a more general accept block that has the type of error, which is what I would recommend. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and have the speak block. So we're going to say file dot, whoops, read the, whoops, hold on, what's happening? Sorry. File name dot read. Okay, and now we're going to say TTS dot init, so on and so forth. So we're going to say TTS dot init equals pi Pyttsx3 dot init parenthesis. Now we're going to say TTS, whoops, dot say. Well, okay, so it's, no, I do not want to do that yet. TTS dot save, and then we're going to say, sorry, say, not save. We're going to say file name. So that will simply read out what's in that file name. But actually what we have to do is we have to say file name.read, we're going to say file content. File content equals file name.read. I got some indentation problems here. I got way too many indents here going on, guys. Get rid of this TTS. We're going to say file content. Because if I say file name, that's going to simply print the name of the file. File content. And then we're going to do the accept block where we say file not found. So we say everything in the try that it's supposed to do. And then if it fails, it will go run the accept block. Okay. Accept. Oops. Okay, hold on. If I could type, that'd be great tonight, because I cannot seem to type worth a absolute living. Accept. accept file colon print left paren the file you want you typed, let's see, file name can't be found. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Okay. We got some problems. Let's go ahead and fix these. So, Steph. I think I got some weird indentation stuff going on here. Try. Let's go ahead and try to run this now. Okay, we got an error. Okay, let's see error. Menu is not defined. Okay, let me go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and stop that function going. Let me go up here and speak. Left paren, right paren. Okay, so let's go ahead and run our function. Please type a file you'd like spoken. I'm going to go ahead and say test. The file name can't be found. Perfect. Now, let's go ahead and make a file called test.txt. But what we've so far done is we have done all of our try and accept. So all of our try and accept logic is completely done for this function. So we've made sure that this function is able to be used and that it is able to be handled at the correct time. So let us go ahead and now that we understand the importance of try and accept, let's now go ahead and see if we cannot get a file created. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a file in our directory. And see. I'm going to go ahead and create a new file. Let's see. I don't know. Let me go ahead and do something here. Let's see. I think I can do a touched. I'm going to go. Actually, I'm just going to say code test.txt. I'm just going to say hi all. Actually, since I'm in Texas, y'all, this is a test, period. Alright, that's good enough. Now, let's go ahead and run this. Whoops, as I go run this again. And, wow, I'm just running all over the place. So, Python. Test. Okay. Okay, so why isn't that red? So it worked, sort of. So let's find out what happened. Let me go ahead and print out the file content. That way I can make sure it reads. Print file content. Test. Okay. Okay, so it's almost like it's cutting it off. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Hey, stop it. Uh-oh. Okay. I said to clear my terminal. Kind of got a little redonkulous there. Python 3. So I think it reads properly. Okay, so Python 3. Let's see. TTS. Test. So it reads it fine, right? It says hi. But, okay. So, let's look at our little handy-dandy Copilot. Run and wait, am I? Yes. Hold on. I am. And you know what? I'm partially doing this on purpose today, folks. Because I'm trying to see if you guys are paying attention. Right? I'm doing this on purpose. I'm saying, I was trying to wait for you guys to catch the memo. I'm doing this on purpose. Right? I'm seeing if you guys are missing my hints here. Hi, y'all. This is a test. Good job, Kevin. I didn't want to have to be here all night. So we went ahead and we ran our function. So I think that this is a good spot to stop for tonight. So far we have a minimal viable product. We've got both of our functions working. Tomorrow night, or whenever we go ahead and do this again, we're going to go ahead and do more of our functions. And we're going to do more of the menu. And we're going to continue on with this project. So hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight. Again, it was a little bit crazy, but this is what happens when you see me live 4 hours of sleep coding. It can get a little bit crazy, but I'm hoping you guys enjoyed tonight, and I try to keep you on your toes. So good job. I'll talk to y'all soon, and have a great night, everyone.